Welcome once again to Mansfield Ceramics Gallery here in Darlinghurst in Sydney, where we're delighted to be exhibiting a major body of work from Dr. Owen Rye. So welcome, Owen.
Thank you.
And we're going to briefly discuss the works that are here in the gallery. First of all, I'm going to ask Owen, the title of the exhibition is Themeless Variations. Where does that come from?
It comes from the fact that it's a very personal sort of thing. My wife became ill about 3 years ago, and it became impossible to farm a large kiln which needs a group of people. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't have a house full of people, so some of the work that you see here comes from firing that I did about 3 years ago. Mm. And then I've been experimenting with a little kiln, and a lot of the rest of the work comes out of that. And considering it's a learning experience, mm-hmm. I've been doing a lot of experiments, and so there's individual results from that, like the large one that you see up the back mm-hmm. behind us. And so it's kind of the best of my experiments. Best of your experiments.
One of the things that I have noticed, and Owen and I are going to be speaking next month in Chicago at an international woodfire conference, and working on what I want to say, it is the fact that a lot of, and it's anecdotal and purely my opinion, but so many woodfirers concentrate on the surface of the work. It's very much about what the wood kiln can give the form. What I've always loved about your work, and I think is very much exemplified here, is how important the form is with your work. So the surfaces are completely magnificent, and you'll see some of them later on in this footage, this film footage. But there's a variation of form, a very considered variation of form. And I wondered if you could talk us through that, the choices that you make in both those things, so the form and then the firing of the surface, because there's a great marriage that works between both of those things.
Well, there's an interesting thing to me that a lot of people writing about this sort of work or commenting about it make some kind of reference to Japan. Mm-hmm. And that's probably reasonable if you're thinking about the wood-firing kiln. I mean, there's something in common. Mm-hmm. If you fire with wood in a big kiln, there's a commonness there. But my main influence, I was talking to somebody about this a couple of days ago, to me there's a very close relationship between my work and my good mate Alan Peascod. Mm-hmm. In that we're both very closely influenced by Islamic ceramics. Mm-hmm. And, if I look at a lot of these, I can see what I'm talking about, work made in sections.
Yes.
Work particularly, most of it's thrown on the wheel, but when I take it off the wheel, that's when I start forming.
Yes.
I mean, the wheel is just a device for giving you a kind of blank to work on, and so you can see that in almost all of these that they've been, I like the expression, they've been played with, because that's what I'm doing. I like that childish aspect of it as well as the intellectual aspect.
And I'm sure you have been asked this question many times. Why wood firing?
And I've answered it many times. I think it's the best answer. As I grew up in the snowy mountains and in a very isolated area, and when I was a kid, if you wanted to get warm, you lit a wood fire. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to cook something, you cooked in a wood-burning stove. If you wanted to have a bath, you lit the chip heater to heat the water. And so any other form of heating just seems unnatural. I mean, I don't understand what electricity is. There's something very strange about it. But I do understand about burning wood, so it's just natural.
That's okay. If I could ask you to talk through this pot for us.
Well, it's an example of what I'm saying about the Islamic thing. The main body of it's thrown, and then this top is just a little ball of clay that's put on the top, and then the top's thrown from that. And that's why every single one that you look at is different, because the ball of clay wasn't exactly round. They're all different. And if you look at the bottom, I've obviously beaten it with a convenient piece of dowel. I think of it as sort of articulating the shape, giving it something beyond a basic traditional form. Although some of them here, I've been thinking about that lately, that some of the forms are very, very traditional.
Yes.
And I've sort of wondered sometimes whether I should be doing something much more inventive or not, but you do what you do.
You do what you do. For our viewers who are not conversant in wood firing, so these marks here are made from... What, do you want to talk us through the surface?
In the kiln it actually sits like that.
Yep.
And it's sitting on some balls of fire clay, which have been there, and so it's sitting like that. Kevin Greeley said that a Japanese potter once said that the process is place pot in kiln, ash cries on pots.
Ash cries on pots, that's lovely.
And so the ash has been crying. That way, it's actually fluid. It's like, if you think of it like lava flowing down the hillside from a volcano, it's the same kind of thing. The wood ash melts and flows and forms these lines.
Thank you very much indeed, Owen. If you come along to the exhibition, which runs throughout the whole of this month, you'll see some amazingly large thrown works by Owen Rye. And we also recommend to you this book, The Art of Wood Fire, a Contemporary Ceramics Practice by Dr. Owen Rye. And you can purchase that either by contacting us here at the gallery or Owen Rye directly. Once again, it's a complete pleasure to be presenting this work of Owen Rye. Thank you very much indeed.
It's my pleasure also.